Thank you, Hannah Mark. Thank you all for coming out. I really hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. We put a lot of hard work into it. Really a collaborative effort, as I said in the program. Lots and lots of people helping out to make this what it is, right down to tiny details on the set. So, it's based on the 1920s real-life Gilbert family. We hope we do them justice. Don't forget to laugh. Thank you. Enjoy the show.
Not quite 1927.
No, that'd be progressive.
Frank, the music, coming from down the street. Can you hear it?
I thought I heard something else.
Songs like that make you remember.
I thought I heard a whistle, like Dad used to whistle assembly call.
How could you hear that?
There. It's funny how a sound stays with you,
It's Dad that stays with you.
because he had enough gull to be divided into 3 parts. Mother said the day the U.S. entered the First World War, Dad telegraphed President Wilson, "Arriving Washington, 7 p.m. If you don't know how to use me, I'll tell you how."
He showed them how to save time assembling machine guns.
But you couldn't tell where Dad's scientific management ended and his family life began, even buttoning his vest from bottom to top to save 4 seconds.
But he could walk into the Zeiss works in Germany or the Pierce Arrow plant in this country and announce he'd speed up production 1/4 and then do it.
And what works in the factories works at home. I guess with so many of us, it was scientific management, or bedlam.
Even with a dozen, I don't think Dad was satisfied. I remember him looking us over and then saying to Mother, "Only 12, but never mind, Lily, you did the best you could."
Remember one time, Mother returned home from a trip and asked Father if everything had run smoothly? He said, "Only had trouble with that one over there, but a good spanking brought him into line." Mother said, "That's not one of ours, dear. He lives next door."
I remember the music. We used to sing that song.
3-part harmony.
The whole family rolling along in the Pierce Arrow, singing love's old sweet song. Dad leaned back against the seat and cocked his hat on the side of his head, and Mother would snuggle up against him as if she were cold. I remember her turning around once between songs and saying, "Right now is the happiest time in the world."
Maybe it was.
Maybe that's the time in a family, when you're all together, before anything has happened to any one of you.
Right now is the happiest time in the world. Remember when she said it again?
Dad, with his bad heart, leaving to lecture at the World Management Conference in Europe. He was about to go when he whistled assembly call, and we all came running. It was the last time. And Dad was trying to hug us all, and that's when Mother said it.
But when I think of Dad, I don't think of that. I think of him color chalking our fingers and the typewriter keys so that even the babies were learning the touch system. Or taking movies of us washing dishes so we could analyze them and eliminate waste motions.
Painting diagrams on the wall to show the solar system, or the difference between meters and yards. Tapping out messages in Morse code, telling those of us who understood where candy was hidden.
And how he hated distractions. Remember those 2 noisy canaries?
The one he named Shut Up, and the other, You Heard Me.
But the way I remember Dad best, he'd come bounding in up the front steps with his arms full. He'd be busting to try out some new ideas. He'd come roaring into the living room, take out his stopwatch, and whistle assembly call. That meant come running.
Grandma, you hurry up!
Oh, wait. Didn't you hear the whistle?
I wasn't sure.
Come on, we're late.
14 seconds.
That's pretty good.
Only 8 seconds off the record.
Where's your mother?
Upstairs with babies.
I had so many children because I thought anything your mother and I teamed up on was certain to be a success. Now, I'm not so sure. Let me see your fingernails.
What, Daddy?
Fingernails! Good. Good. Not very clean, Martha. Good. Bill. Good. Need trimmings, Lillian. Good. Dan, how many times do I have to tell you not to bite your fingernails? Jackie, front and center. Jackie. Other hand. Look at those nails. What do you think of them? What you need is a jackknife to keep your nails clean. In fact, all you boys need jackknives, and I have some little manicure sets for the girls.
Gosh, Dad.
Here's yours. I'm
Thanks,
sorry.
Dad. It's okay.
Here's yours.
Golly, scissors! Scissors
Martha.
and a oh, beauty.
Funny, Dad.
Scissors. And keep dropping things.
Thank you.
Here's yours.
Here you go.
Thanks, Dad.
Really?
Everything.
Don't even think about it.
Dan and Jackie.
Thanks, Dad.
Now, I'll inspect your nails again. Now, where can I put these?
What's in those boxes?
These boxes?
Is there something for us in those boxes?
Come on and tell us.
It's something interesting and educational, but a lot of fun too. I'll tell you about it tomorrow, or maybe the day after.
Please.
Next week sometime.
Tell us now.
You're going to anyway.
You know you are.
All right, since you insist. These are 2 Victrolas and some records.
But we have a Victrola.
Downstairs,
Well,
these Victrolas are for the upstairs bathrooms. One for the boys' bathroom and one for the girls' bathroom.
The bathrooms.
I'll bet we'll be the only family in town with a Victrola in every bath.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I've been thinking about the time you waste in the bathrooms. At first, I thought it was unavoidable delay.
here we go.
Then, I thought of these Victrolas. You're going to play them every morning while brushing teeth, washing faces, taking baths.
Why?
Does there have to be a why for everything?
There doesn't have to be, but with you, there always is.
When you start talking about Victrolas, dance music isn't the first thing that comes to our minds.
I admit, it's not dance music.
Well, we might start thinking about dances. What kind of records, Dad?
Very interesting and educational. Language lessons. French and German.
Oh my God, I hate French!
You don't have to listen to them consciously. Just play them, and finally they'll make an impression.
Not every morning in the bathroom.
I spent $160 on this equipment,
They're not even unwrapped. Maybe you can get your money back, Daddy.
but I don't want my money back. And if those Victrolas aren't going from the minute you get up until you come down to breakfast, I don't know the reason why.
One reason, and
Is it possible to change records while you're in the bathtub?
A person can be in and out of the tub in the time it takes a record to play. That's why your top motion study.
You never taught us anything about taking a bath.
I'll now demonstrate how to take a bath without waste motions. Without diving here and there and taking an hour. Dan and Fred, bring over that rug. We'll pretend it's a bathtub.
You mean right now?
I mean at once. Put it there. A little more hot water, Jackie. That's fine. Now, I am in the bathtub.
Yes, Daddy.
I have a cake of soap in my right hand. Now pay attention to this one simple, continuous motion. From the top of the left shoulder, down the top of the left arm, back up the bottom of the arm, and down the left side. Got it? Shift soap. Same motion, other side.
Don't forget the back of your neck.
Hello, boss. I'm not forgetting a thing.
Glad you're home early. What's all the racket?
Fingernail inspection.
Fingernails? How about yours? Biting them again.
Let's see yours. I told you not to do the dishes yourself.
There's already too much for the cook to do.
I'll take care of that. It's just a matter of saving motions. Dishes or bathing, it's all the same thing. Continuing. Give a little attention to the back of your neck and the bottoms of your feet, and you'll be out of the tub before you can say, bonjour. Now, put the rug back and take the controllers upstairs. Now, boss, I'll go talk to the cook.
We'll both talk to her.
Rabbi, which goes and which is that? We'll give the girls the French.
I much prefer French.
Yeah, Paul.
Is yellow French or German?
I think it's Spanish.
Dad has a system for everything.
Even conjugating French and German verbs in the bathtub.
If only he'd think of a system for interesting a few boys I know at school.
In what?
In me.
A girl has to think of some things for herself. I did.
What do you mean?
I'm going to have it out with him.
Have what out?
Somebody has to, and I'm the oldest.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to stop dressing like a freak. Aren't you too tired of dressing like freaks?
Yes, but
Dad says
I don't care what he says.
he might hear you.
He's going to anyway. Cotton stockings. No wonder we're never asked out anywhere. No boy would dare be seen with us. And the way it looks, I'll be the only girl to go through Montclair High without once being asked to a dance. Whenever that phone rings, it's just some girl.
a boy called yesterday. He wanted my notes on the Second Punic War.
You'd think it would impress fellows. I mean, knowing things like the Morse code and touch systems.
But it doesn't matter at all.
I had to do something. So, I went out and bought some things. Some up-to-date things, like the other girls wear. And they look absolutely snaky.
Careful, he may walk in at any minute.
Let him. I'm not a snake.
What'd you get?
Short under things and silk stockings.
Silk stockings?
But when Dad, they're right here in this package. And I'm going to wear them, and I'm going to be asked to dances, and boys will want to dance with me, and I'll be a really popular girl.
And if he lets you wear them, have to let me wear them too.
And me.
And we'll all be having dates and going to dances.
And we can talk over our different boyfriends and compare notes. Golly.
Silk stockings.
And it's Dad!
Hey, quick!
More efficiency, that's all I hear.
If you just apply motion study.
Motion study is fine, as long as it's someone else's motions you're studying.
You better get back to dinner, Miss Fitzgerald. My husband told you.
He'll take care of it.
Lincoln freed the slaves. All but one. All but one.
We'll handle this the same way we would in a factory.
It isn't exactly the same.
Exactly. And what works in the factory
Yes, dear.
12 seconds. I have a wonderful surprise for you. We're going to try a wonderful new idea.
What are we going to do? What kind of idea? Tell us.
Your mother is not going to run this household anymore. I'm not going to run it either.
Then who?
You are.
Me?
All of us. Through a democratic family council. We'll have a family democracy. Everybody votes. You'll be deciding things for yourselves. You'll work out the problems that come up.
Gosh, Dad, who will?
You bet we will. You know how I get factories to set up joint employer-employee boards to make assignments on the basis of personal aptitudes.
Yes, but what kind of assignments, Dad?
Every sort of assignment. This and that, even work assignments.
I hate work.
Now, you're all going to love this, and it's a great step forward. You'll see. The Gilbert Family Council is going into session right now. Frank, get your mother a chair.
Just like in a factory.
We'll get right into the business before us. I now call this meeting to order. That means quiet. You'll notice that I am installed here as your chairman. I assume there are no objections. The chair, hearing no objections...
Mr. Chairman,
Out of order.
since this is going to be a democratic council, I believe that the chairman should represent the common people.
You're out of order. The chair has the floor.
But you said you heard no objections, and I want to object.
Out of order means you are out of order. And sit down. Now, the first business of this council is to apportion the necessary work about the house. Does the chair hear any suggestions? Come, fellow members, how would you like to divide the work?
I don't think anyone wants to divide the work or otherwise be associated with it in any way, shape, or form.
In a democracy, everybody speaks. So start speaking. Dan, I recognize you. What do you think about it? I'm warning you. Speak, man.
I think Mrs. Fitzgerald and Thomas will do the work. They get paid for it.
You're no longer recognized. Sit down. Bill, I recognize you.
I think Todd and Mrs. Fitzgerald have enough to do. So I think we should hire more people to help with the work.
You're not recognized either. Boss, now what?
Of course, we could hire more help. But that would mean saving in other places. If we cut out allowances, moving pictures, and new clothes, and so on.
Do I hear a motion to that effect? Who wants to stop allowances? Moving pictures.
Seriously, we'll all have to help.
I move the boys rake the leaves and cut the grass.
And I move the girls sweep, dust, and do supper dishes.
And everyone makes his own bed,
Except the chairman.
except the chairman.
Excellent suggestions. I second the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Checking. Very well. Motion carried. There being no other business.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I understand the purchase of a new rug is intended.
Yes, it is.
Can the budget afford such a rug?
I don't know. Sounds like he has a good point.
I plan to spend $100.
I move no more than $95 be spent.
I second that motion as well. All those in favor?
I...
afraid you lose on that one, boss. Now, there being no other business.
Mr. Chairman,
What?
I move we spend the $5 we just saved to buy a goalie puppy.
Hey, wait a minute.
Second the motion.
Out of order. You're very much out of order.
A dog would be a pet. Everyone can pat him, and I would be his master.
A dog will sleep at the foot of my bed, and I will wash when he was dirty.
A dog would be an accursed nuisance. He would be our master. Nobody would wash his filthy, flea-bitten carcass, and he would positively sleep on the foot of my bed.
Let's vote.
Any pet that doesn't lay eggs is an extravagance.
Come on, we need to vote. Vote.
Adjourn. Adjourn. No!
Afraid I wasn't that one, boss.
I think this council is a very good idea.
There's lots of things we should take up.
Really? I suppose next you want ponies. Roadsters. Trips to Hawaii. Heaven forbid. Silk stockings.
Mr. Chairman,
What is it?
there is still further business I wish to bring among the council.
And it's important.
I'll show you. I'm not hiding a thing. I want the entire family to see.
Shall I bring down the babies?
Be serious.
What is it?
Well, to begin with, these underthings. This teddy. I'm going to wear it.
You will not. Put it back in the box. It embarrasses me even to look at it.
But I bought it with my own money.
I don't care. You'll take it right back to the store.
But there's only one other girl at school besides us who doesn't wear a teddy.
If you don't believe us, come to school and see for yourself.
That won't be necessary.
I'm glad there's one other sensible girl in school besides you.
But she doesn't even wear a teddy.
If you don't believe us...
It still won't be necessary.
They're getting boy crazy, Dad. That's all they talk about.
You should see them at school. I'm the boys in the hall and the lunchrooms.
You little snakes! Shame on you.
You may as well know it isn't just the teddies. I also bought silk stockings.
No!
And mittens.
You can see right through this. You might as well go bare-legged. It's like the last of the 7 veils.
Now you know.
Don't you realize what might happen to a girl who goes around showing her legs through silk stockings?
What?
Never mind.
But that's the way everybody dresses today.
Dad, boys don't notice you when everyone dresses that way.
Don't tell me about boys. I know all about what boys notice.
You don't want us to be wallflowers.
I'd rather raise wallflowers than clinging vines.
I'm going to wear these. I'm not going to be a wallflower anymore.
And I'm going to buy silk stockings too.
And me.
I won't let you out of the house with them.
Don't you see, Dad? I've never even been asked to the drugstore for plain, ordinary vanilla soda.
If it's vanilla sodas you want.
Oh, Dad.
As for boys, they don't get serious about the kind of girl who wears silk stockings. They just run around with them.
If you ask me, it's a dead giveaway to be so suspicious. It denotes a misspent youth.
Nobody asked you. Listen, Anne, when a man chooses a wife, he wants someone he can respect.
Oh, they certainly respect me. I'm the most respected girl in the whole school. They respect me so much, they hardly look at me.
You get back down here. I don't want you wasting your time with a lot of boys. Just look at the fun we have here at home with our project.
You don't understand. You don't understand at all. Sometimes I wish your job was selling shoes, and you had
What is it I don't understand?
High school girls.
Do you remember when we decided to have a dozen children? Do you remember what I suggested?
You suggested we have all boys.
Now, I'm not blaming you, boss, but you should have followed my suggestions. High school girls. By jingle, there's only one way to handle this.
Just like in a factory.
Hey, Ern,
What, Frank?
why doesn't Dad want you wearing silk stockings and having dates?
I don't know why.
But there has to be a reason. I mean, he wouldn't do it without a reason.
No, he wouldn't.
But what could the reason be? Do you remember one time? I think it was after Dan first bought the $5 dog. It was about 2 weeks after Ann first showed Dad the silk stocking.
I remember the battle over those silk stockings.
But a little while afterwards, Dad and Dr. Burton had a long conference upstairs. Then they came down together, and Dad was joking.
And we didn't think anything about it. We didn't even have a suspicion.
That's the time.
They were so cheerful. Gosh, Frank, when a man with a dozen children gets told his heart's on the blink, what's he going to do?
That's what I'm getting at. I mean, maybe that's why Dad didn't want you girls thinking about boys and dates and movies all the time.
It wouldn't contribute to skipping grades at school.
Don't you see? The further we were along in school, the easier it would be later on.
Of course.
There'd be less of a load on mothers.
You can't blame him for not wanting us to go on dates and things, but we didn't know.
And he didn't know either, like Mother said about high school girls.
I guess boys and things, Dad must have figured was a shocking waste of time.
But as I remember, the first boy to call was on the same night Dad and Dr. Burton had the conference.
I believe Dad and Dr. Burton went upstairs after dinner that night.
You and I were in the living room playing checkers.
I thought we were playing chess.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I, though, wasn't paying attention to the game. I was wishing the phone would ring and be some fullback who was dying to beat me. Like I said, I didn't pay attention much to the game, or even to Dad.
We should have realized, right, Dad, what they were saying.
But at the time, they seemed so casual. It just passed like any other conversation, like an ordinary conversation might pass.
You were sitting there, and I was sitting here.
And we hardly noticed. I guess I was daydreaming.
Hey, Ern, your move.
What?
Your move.
Oh,
Sure about that?
of course, I'm sure.
Okay.
I suppose you feel proud of yourself?
Another game.
Quacks. You're all quacks.
I hear it so much. There must be something to it.
The Gilbreths are rugged pioneer stock. No time for nonsense like being sick.
What about the Gilbreth measles epidemic last spring?
Probably even pioneers got the measles.
It's possible.
You old fake. Now you're trying to tell me I shouldn't take out any 3-year magazine subscriptions.
Absolute waste of money.
How about a 1-year subscription?
I'd still save my money if I was you. I'd ask about short term, maybe 6 months.
That's a mighty short-term subscription.
A man with your responsibilities doesn't want to waste his money.
Mr. Bones, I don't believe a word you say. I feel too good. And besides, I'm too busy.
Fine. Then I won't have to worry about it. See you next week.
You bet you will.
What magazines are you subscribing for, Dad?
Never you mind. What's this?
We already did our homework.
That's fine, but don't just stop there. If you always do more, pretty soon you skip a grade.
I just skipped a grade last year.
start thinking about next year. I don't want you held back by a school system geared for the children of average parents. That's one of the topics for discussion tonight.
Yes, was that book any good?
Silk stockings.
I've been wearing them to school, and I guess you might as well know it.
Next thing I know, you'll be wanting to paint yourself.
Everybody uses makeup nowadays.
They don't call it painting anymore.
I don't care what they call it. I'll not have any painted women in this house.
What you want is a house full of old maids.
What I want is for you to get ahead with things that matter. By yourselves. Without needing me to hound you all the time.
And the topic for tonight's family council is skipping grades at school.
Yes, by jingo, and a little better organization around here.
I thought we agreed all topics were of general interest.
Better organization is always of general interest.
Dad's so smart. Why can't he understand?
Oh, you poor thing.
Your move. Sure about that?
Of course.
Checkmate.
Hey, wait a minute.
Another game?
No.
Get him out of here!
Of all the dumb dogs.
What do you expect for $5?
Up on Dad's bed again.
He's always on Dad's bed. He's crazy about Dad.
The basement window, across the coal bin, up the back stairs, Dad's bed.
You know, Dad was right about that dog. Now he'll think he's right about everything.
Clothes, makeup, and everything.
They still think the boys will go mad over them.
Over them?
What's so ridiculous about that?
Nothing, only
Only what?
If you've anything to say,
I just wouldn't think you'd have that sort of effect on anybody.
And we've known you all our lives. Of course, some boy who didn't know you so well.
Thanks for the compliment.
I think you're very good swimmers. And at tennis.
we don't care for your opinion.
The other boys don't feel that way about us.
Do they?
I've never even heard the subject mentioned.
If you want an honest, frank answer.
We don't.
What good did those silk stockings do?
Someday, Frank, you're going to be surprised. Someday, Frank, that phone's going to ring and it'll be
Somebody for Dad. Hello? What? You want to talk with who? You're absolutely sure? You haven't got her mixed up with somebody else.
Who's it for?
You don't mean Ann Gilbert, the one with freckles. Are you still there? Oh, please, don't hang up. Hello? Hurry, I'm sure Ann will be down any second.
What are you saying?
Hey, Ann, imagine a boy calling for you. Hurry, before he hangs
Give me
up.
that phone!
Imagine calling for you.
You snake in the grass. Hello? Yes, this is it.
Too many beans.
Who?
Taste
Why, yes, I'd love to go have a soda with you. Wait, you mean right now? At night? Anne, you're driving right over.
You don't have permission?
That'll be fine. Just give a toot on your horn when you get here. Be seeing you.
Who is it?
Joe Scales.
Golly, the cheerleader? With a car, too.
Pardon me. Isn't he a little undersized?
So what if he is? You can't expect to start with the captain of the football team. But maybe, if other people start taking us out, then maybe others will want to. Maybe.
What are you going to tell Dad?
Sooner or later, he's got to realize.
Don't you think it's better if he just realizes a little at a time?
I don't know when I'll get another chance. I bet there'll be a lot of people down at the drugstore. Almost everybody.
If Dad lets you go.
We might have a project.
Don't you see? This is the start. Boys notice girls that other boys notice. If you start getting taken out on dates, and you start becoming popular, then eventually you meet someone you really want to meet.
And if you start having dates, Dad can be so strict with us.
No.
See? This is why this is so important. This is the start. That's all. Mother.
Your father will be down in a minute. He has some things for the family council to take up.
Mother, there was a phone call. A boy called for me.
That's nice.
I think he's a well-brought-up boy.
He's the cheerleader.
He asked me if I could go have a soda with him.
When?
Tonight. He said he's driving right over.
He has his own car.
I don't think tonight's a very good night for it. I think some other night.
But if I break off the first date I ever had, there won't be another night.
Please, Mother.
Say something to Dad.
I wish some other time.
But when? When?
I guess you have to start sometime, though.
I already told him yes.
Maybe we could bring it up at the end of the council, if you'll be especially cooperative. I hope this boy is the quiet and reassuring type.
Oh, he is.
He's small, too. Only that high.
Well, that's
Now we'll see whose skull gets fractured.
Bill, put down that umbrella.
Yeah, Bill.
Yeah, right.
Arrange yourselves for a meeting. Right, get your mother a chair.
I was trying to explain things to the dog.
We made a new bed for him under the porch. He's sure to stay there.
By jingo, he'd better. Now, before we get into the business of the meeting, if there are any topics of general interest you'd like to bring up, hearing none,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go into the topic of roller skates.
not of general interest,
I'm interested.
sit down.
The trouble is, you always decide what's of general interest, and none of us have a chance. I don't think that there's democratic.
Nonsense. I always favor a family discussion of general interest before going into the business of the meeting. And I can't ever recall being unreasonable as to subject matter.
I might sometimes see a boy who's in my history class.
He's the cheerleader.
Not of general interest.
Oh, he is. We're all very interested.
Not me. Oh, I'm bored stiff. Now, Van had said she might sometimes see a two-headed boy. That would be of general interest.
I'd be very interested in a two-headed boy.
Now, I have a really first-rate topic for you. I'm going to teach you a new method of multiplication that's bound to make a wonderful impression on your math teachers. Remember, a lot of little things like this add up to skipping grades at school.
Is that of general interest, Daddy?
That, son, is of the utmost general interest. But, before we get into the mathematics, I have an announcement to make. I have been invited to speak at the World Management Conference in London, England. And, despite the opposition of a few warriors, I intend to go. But, by jingo, I'm going to leave this house in smooth running order without such a load on your mother.
They're not such a load.
We're going to organize a purchasing committee to buy food, clothes, and equipment. You are going to elect a utilities officer to levy 5-cent fines on wasters of water and electricity. A projects committee will see that all work is completed on schedule.
We'll all help. Of course, Dad. Right, guys?
Yeah, sure.
And since that's settled, I move that we adjourn.
We need more system. I'm installing work charts in the bathrooms. You're to initial them every day after brushing teeth, doing homework, doing chores, etc. Then all your mother has to do is glance at the charts.
I think we're all in favor, and I move that we adjourn.
It is getting late.
It sure is.
I'd like to see us have the most efficient household in the entire world. That will leave more time for your studies. The most important thing is your schoolwork, your education.
Couldn't we get into that later, Dad? We're all doing fine in our studies.
I want you doing better, skipping grades now and then. I don't want anything to interfere with your studies.
Mr. Chairman, please, I move that we adjourn.
I second the motion.
Your most important job is getting ahead in school as fast as you can. And anything that detracts from that, what I was trying to say is, your schoolwork and Gilbert.
Yes, Dad?
Are you in any way responsible for that noise?
I'm responsible.
Great Caesar's ghost! What's that written on the car? Jump in sardine. Here's your tin.
There's more on the other side.
He asked Sam if she could go get a soda with him. I think it might be all right.
I've already done my homework.
We have a mathematics project.
Couldn't I get it for Ernestine later? I promise I'll...
Go out there, tell him to stop that, and come back in.
Joe, park the car and come in.
That's not what I meant.
Oh, Dad, please.
Now, Frank, I won't have you embarrass Anne.
What do you want me to do? Go sit in the kitchen?
Yes.
We're going to have a talk before you say anything to that boy. He may be very nuts.
He's the cheerleader.
That settles it.
Now, Frank, you keep an open mind.
Anyone would think that boys were more important than mathematics projects.
Now what?
Come on in, Joe.
Hey, the gang's all here. What's the matter? Didn't you hear me home?
We heard you.
Some horn, eh?
These are my brothers and sisters.
The babies are upstairs.
Some family.
You are the first cheerleader we ever swept nose.
How do you like my tie? That's a William Tell tie. You pull the bow, it hits the apple. See? A William Tell tie. You pull the bow, it hits the apple. Some tie, eh? Say, we're running late. We ought to get going.
I think maybe my dad wants to meet you first.
I think maybe he will.
The gang's all down there. We really ought to get going.
Do you have time to show us how you lead a cheer?
Frank, yeah!
Great. Sure thing. I'll show you one cheer. Then we'll get going. Okay? Okay.
No, are you crazy?
What's the matter? Come on and follow me.
Frank, what have you done?
Come on, I'm going to kill him. Let's have a hoo, rah, ray, and a tiger from Montclair High. Let's have a hoo, rah, ray, and a tiger. I want to hear you holler now. Ready? Hoo, rah,
Now, Frank. Dad, I would like you to meet Mr. Joe Scales.
How do you do, young man?
Hiya, Pop. Remember now.
Dad, Joe asked me if I could go have a soda with him. He said the gang's all down at the drugstore.
How about the project?
I would like to go, Dad.
I'm always reasonable. A soda shouldn't take long.
You mean I can go?
Of course you can.
Oh, Dad.
Now, let's see. I can take time out for 15 minutes. Maybe 20.
Time out for what?
To chaperone you, of course.
A chaperone? With me?
You didn't think I was letting her out of the house alone with you, did you?
What's wrong with me?
It would take more than 15 minutes to answer that one.
I can't walk into the drugstore right in front of everybody, followed by some girl's father.
What's wrong with me?
Young man, that's what they call a rhetorical question.
So what if it is? I won't be chaperoned in any drugstore.
Just a minute, Joe.
Don't you trust your own flesh and blood?
Of course he does.
I trust all of my children. It's cheerleaders that I don't trust.
If that's the way you feel, then I'm leaving. I'll get someone else.
A judicious decision.
I must have been crazy.
Just a minute, Joe.
Someday, hey?
Frank,
Wait till the guys at the drugstore hear what happens when you date Gilbreth.
you're not going to tell everyone.
It isn't Anne's fault.
Wait till they hear. You'll get no more dates like me.
A hooray and a tiger for us.
Dad! Just a minute, Joe. I don't see what is so wrong with going out 15 or 20 minutes just for a soda. He'll tell them all. I'm so embarrassed.
Cheerleaders. Absolute waste of time. Let's just do a little on the mathematics project. Then I'll take you all to the movies. We'll get a lot of candy and popcorn and have a wonderful time.
Yes! Candy! No one in this family understands me. I wish I were dead.
What a thing to wish. Enough nonsense now. I'm going to teach you how to multiply two-digit numbers in your head. The first example, to multiply 46 times 46. First, you find out how much more 46 is than 5. Then you find out how much less 46 is than 50. The answer is 4. You square the 4 and get 16. You multiply 16 by the square root of 11 to find